Hey guys, welcome to this very exciting TFL Buddy review, because behind me are two really cool trucks. Now you may be thinking to yourself, those are just regular old full-size trucks, but you'd be wrong, because to my right is the brand new Ram 1500 Eco Diesel, and to my left is a brand new Silverado with, I'm gonna call it the middle max. Yep, it's a diesel, but for this buddy review, I need a buddy.
Buddy right here.
Hey Nathan, so in this video, as you know, we're gonna take them for a ride, we're gonna find out how fast they are, a little surprise there, and we're gonna give you a complete, I'm gonna call it a buddy preview, because we're gonna do a lot more testing with these before we return them back to the manufacturer. So why don't we start out by showing them around the truck. Start with the Ram.
Come on, guys. Now recently, the Ram was completely redesigned. All new truck, right? Well, that's basically what you got here. It's a new truck, but here's what makes it different. Yep. That's about it. Otherwise, from the outside, it's really hard to tell that this is the diesel. Now, this is the basic work truck package. As such, there's not a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, you have smaller wheels. You don't have a bed liner. There's no fancy bumpers, but you do have this. That is one big emblem. Dude, that's the size of my head. I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest with you. But if you like big Rams, there you go. Now, as for the rest of the truck, once again, really hard to tell that it's a diesel with the exception of that one badge which is on the hood. But there's more to it, and that is this. Over to the front. Look at all that chrome. That's free. That's right, that's all part of the package. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the chrome either. Roman, what about you?
So what makes this special, of course, is what's under the hood, and I'm calling it the middle max because it's not the big old Duramax and it's not the four-cylinder baby Duramax. So middle max, it puts out 266 horsepower and 470 pound-foot of torque. That's a big number. It's also mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it gets a little bit better fuel economy. Now, what's cool about, of course, the Chevy, if you like the Camaro, is the design. Over the years, the design of this has been growing on me. Maybe not years, maybe the last few months. It looks like a Camaro that has been turned into a truck. And like I say, it's getting better. The rest of it is pretty standard. You've got your towing mirrors, you've got your steel wheels, and this one is a little higher of a trim level than that one. But for the most part, these two trucks are pretty much apples to apples as you can get. They both have the short cab, and they both represent two-wheel drive variants of two trucks with diesel engines. So Nathan, what's under the hood of this bad boy?
All right.
Let me open it up.
There we go. Okay, guys, check it out. 3-liter V6, but it's the new Eco Diesel V6, so it's been highly revised, and it puts out 260 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. That is better than the Chevrolet in terms of torque, but the Chevrolet puts out more horsepower. Now, this is hooked up to an 8-speed automatic transmission, feeding the rear wheels. Remember, this is a two-wheel drive vehicle. So they're different, and it's interesting to see how different they are on the road.
So Nathan, which one of these two do you want to take for a ride first?
Oh, I think I want to take the Ram first.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that straight six, right? Straight six, really cool, does. But let's go and take this one on the road.
Sounds good. Push button start, baby. That's standard.
Yeah, let's talk about the numbers, because I've got a little cheat sheet here with all the important numbers. So the Chevy starts at 38,800. This tradesman 4x2 starts at 31,895. So
that is a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Now this truck has more torque, but the Silverado has more horsepower.
That is correct.
The big number, of course, is fuel economy. Which one do you think is more fuel efficient? This is a diesel, after all.
Well, I already know because we've already done a couple stories on it. So the Chevrolet, I think, is slightly more efficient.
1 mpg, 26 combined versus 27 combined. 23 in the city for the Silverado, Nathan. 22 mpg for the Ram. 33 for the Silverado on the highway, 32 for the Ram, and overall 1 mpg bigger. Now, interestingly, halos are almost very similar, right? So this one does 2,040 pounds, whereas the Silverado 1,800 pounds. But here's the interesting part: when it comes to towing, dude, when it comes to towing, with its max setup, with the right gear ratio and everything, this truck will tow 12,500, whereas the Silverado 9,300. So we're talking a difference of 3,000 pounds between the two trucks in their maximum configurations. Now normally coming up right here, we would
do it 0 to 60.
Yeah, but we're not doing it. You know why?
Tell me why.
Because you're going to drag race this truck next week against Silverado. But anyway, give it a full-on acceleration anyway. Let's use our butt meter.
3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, a little bit of lag.
A lot of lag. There it goes.
I'd say that was like 2 seconds of lag.
Yeah, that you could feel that it was just sitting there going, okay, now. There it goes. It's in the power now, but
let's do our sound meter test. Keep in mind it's windy, but we're at about 64 or 65 decibels, which isn't bad, dude.
No, that's not bad at all.
No, that's not bad. We don't have a sunroof. Usually we found that increases the amount of wind noise. What do you think of this layout of the interior?
It's still one of the best in class, even with the base model. I do not like the size of this screen at all. It's just too bloody tiny. Come on, guys. 10 extra bucks to make a bigger screen. It's just, when you go into reverse and you're trying to look through that thing out the back, you have to kind of lean over and look at it. It's just too small. But as for the rest of the controls, the layout is quite good. Still not a huge fan of the rotary knob, but I will say this, it really does clean up the whole dash and everything else. I'm used to this setup to a certain degree because, we have it in our Ram Rebel. But as it is, as a base truck, look at this. I mean, it's all very simple, and I like the fact that there are no major gaps. All in all, looks like it's fairly decent quality.
Relatively hard elephant skin plastic.
Yeah.
Hard up there.
Which is par for the course, though, yeah, on an entry-level truck that's basically a work vehicle.
So, dude, it's about lunchtime. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
All right, hit that button, see if you can find snarf.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Find snarfs.
There are no phones connected. Connect a phone and try again.
Yeah, I think you have to have a phone connected in order for this system to actually find anything.
So we're not paired.
No.
So we're not going to be able to find snarfs.
That is correct. Not only that, but I don't think there's a navigation set up on here for it to actually do that for us anyway.
There is a compass, dude. Look.
Great, it'll tell us to go, keep going south. The thing is that with the snarfs tests, what we normally do is a lot of the cars we test have their own built-in navigation system, or they've already been paired with the phone and everything else. Now, had this been paired with the phone, I'm pretty sure that it would take 3 or 4 different commands in order to find it, but, that's just how it works.
Now we're coming up on our little Hula Girl test. This is a rough section of road, and what we do here is we basically determine how much she's dancing, with 1 being nothing and 10 being she's all out like XXL hula-ing. So let's see how she does when we get to this rough stretch of road. Keep in mind, of course, we're completely not payload with anything, so there's nothing in the back of the truck.
Except for our cameraman.
Except for our cameraman. Let's see how she's doing.
She's moving a little bit.
Yeah, it's not bad though, dude. I've seen cars where she moves a lot. I'm going to give that on the Hula score. Let's see if she does any more of this.
Well, we got these 2 others. Oh, there she goes. She's moving.
Yeah. I was going to give it a 3, but I'm going to go up to a 4, I think.
I'll give it a 5. This does have coil spring rear suspension, which is sort of rare in this class. You can get, on the higher end versions, a airbag suspension as well. But the coil spring suspension is really good for handling. I think for a smooth ride, maybe not quite as much.
We're both, let's call it experienced enough to have driven many 70s and 80s cars, right? Mm-hmm. And can you imagine back in the day thinking that there would be a full-size truck that would get either 27 or 26 mpg combined? I mean, those...
Combined.
I know, those cars back in the day, right? I'm talking like Impalas and Cougars and LTDs, right? They were getting like 12.
Yeah, and that was on a good day, and that was if you did certain things to make sure they got good mileage, like hypermile back then. No, I mean, it's incredible. A lot of people complain about the fact that trucks are really expensive, but what you're paying for in many cases is super high tech. These engines that they're using, these diesels, are modern marvels in terms of how they perform and what they're able to do, considering what you're buying. So it's impressive stuff.
So, of course, now the question is, how does this truck compare to the Silverado? So let's jump in the Silverado and let's do the same loop. And at the end of this video, we'll let you know whether we would buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it. So before we jump in the Silverado, let's see if the DEF fluid is where it belongs. Yep, there it is, DEF fluid. In the past, Chevy has, of course, put it in the engine bay, the filler for it, and that was no good because you had to lift it up. Now it's right next to where you put the diesel. So let's jump in and take it for a ride. All right, let's head out on the road. So no more rotary shifter, but instead a column shifter.
Which I prefer. I really do. I just much prefer. It's positive engagement, easier in my mind to use. Plus, I love this gear selection right here.
Now here we have a much bigger screen.
Yep.
We have dual climate zones. So we spend more for this truck, but you get more too.
Yeah, you do. And admittedly, I think it's a nicer interior, but once again, you are spending a little bit more to get it to this level.
This is kind of hard plastic right here, but up here where you put your elbow, I know that's one of your things.
Yep, it is.
Soft.
It is, and I do prefer that. Now, here's a big difference. At least this version of the truck, does not have provisions for a seat in between you and I. This is actually just storage, whereas in the Ram, allows you to put up to 6 people inside.
Nor does this one have a charger right there.
No,
This is just a phone holder, but I'm sure if you got the more expensive one, you could. Now look, I love this. Look at this, dude. You've got a USB-C, a USB, and you've got your little charger port, and you've got your regular outlet. So.
Yeah, and I like the switch location too. I think that's really good. No major complaints in terms of the layout. Pardon me. No major complaints in terms of the layout in general. It's not an uncomfortable place to be. I certainly feel like I'm sitting in a bigger truck. Here we go. Oh, way faster to react.
Oh, much better. I would say that was half the time.
Yeah, easily.
Took the Ram to spool up. I think part of that is because, let's face it, a straight 6 diesel is a really good way to configure a power plant for a truck, right? Cummins is a straight 6, and now we've got Chevy here with the straight 6. I think they put a lot of time, effort, and research money into developing this. And I've always been a fan of the straight 6. There's a
BMW right there, yeah.
Which kind of made the straight 6 iconic.
Well, some car companies are going back to straight 6s and whatnot as well. So, yeah, let's do that.
Maybe a hair quieter, maybe 63, 64, but without a sound meter, you really couldn't tell.
Yeah, and once again, just like the Ram, the majority of the noise is coming from around the mirrors.
Now, do you have the Find Snarfs button? Do we have talk to Senior Steering Wheel? Let's give it a shot.
You want to do that now or after the turn?
Let's try it now. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Go for it.
What would you like?
Find Snarfs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cannot complete your navigation request right now. Please try again later.
She's at least very cordial about it.
Yeah.
They're very different trucks in terms of their overall feel, but I will give General Motors credit. These seats, I think, are a little bit more comfortable, and I think that there's a little bit, there are more amenities. This is a more expensive truck, which, fair enough. But the one thing about the Ram that I do prefer is that the Ram's, like the outward vision, had a lower hood, right? And it was a little easier to see out of for me.
All right, time for our Hula test, dude. We're on a rough stretch of road. Let's see how she dances. It gets rougher as we go down the road, so right now she's
not dancing much.
She's not dancing much. You can tell we don't have a payload in there. It is a little bouncy. But here's the real rough part.
Roma, she's not dancing anywhere near as much as she did in the Ram.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm going to give that a 2 in terms of the Hula score.
3 for me. I mean, that's a much better score.
Yeah, so ride-wise, at least without anything in the bed, this one does a lot better.
Far out. All right. Well, this is kind of a surprise. I expected the Ram with the coil spring suspension to actually do better, and it's a firm ride by comparison. Interesting.
What's it like driving the straight 6 versus the Ram's diesel?
This is a way more responsive powertrain. Yeah. I'm surprised at how responsive it is. Now, I'm not going to mention anything about the Ford. I have driven the Ford diesel before as well, but it's not here right now, so we're not going to compare it. But I will say this. So far, this engine has surprised me just in terms of its regular drivability far more than the Rams.
Remember I said that we're going to give it a buy, at least rent it or forget it.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, I also called this a buddy preview, and that's because we're going to do a lot with these two trucks over the next week. First and foremost, we're going to do an MPG test.
Yes, we have to.
So we're going to tow with both of them the same weight, and we're going to find out. Then we're going to take this one up the Ike to see how it does. We've already taken that one up the Ike. Just park it next to it for now.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's kind of unfair for us to rate this thing before we've actually done our battery of tests. So come on outside and let's do a provisional rating, okay?
That sounds fair enough to me.
So Nathan, you think this tailgate is dampened?
No.
That would be a no. How about yours?
Yes. And it's push button, which I'm kind of iffy on in terms of whether or not that's something I truly want.
So we're going to do a bunch of tests on this truck. So if you were just going to the showroom and you had both these at two cross the street dealerships, would you buy, lease, rent, or forget the Ram?
I think I would rent the Ram. You know, I'm partial to Rams. I like the way that they're designed. You know, everybody knows that I like the Ram design, but that one just doesn't quite tick the boxes for me.
I would definitely lease it. I don't think I'd buy it. I'm a little spooked about what happened with the last generation. I think a lot of people are. So
right.
The jury's still out. Let's see what happens with this power plant before we go give it a buy. How about this one? Buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it.
You know, despite its looks, this truck has really impressed me. The engine, as a daily driver, really impressive. I'm going to give it a buy it.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to give it a buy it as well. I'm really impressed by this engine, and let's face it, I mean, the truck is really all about the engine. That's what makes it unique. So for now, we've got two different ratings, but come back in the next couple of weeks when we actually tow with them and when we figure out what kind of fuel economy they're really getting in real world testing, and then we can give you a much better and much more informed rating. As always, this is Roman
and Nathan
saying thanks for watching. Remember, check out TFLtruck.com for more news, views, and of course, buddy reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.